Alright guys, today we're going to learn how to get the equation of a circle by completing the square. So this is kind of a new algebra tool that you'll have. You may have learned this in the past, but you will for sure use this more in Algebra 2 next year. But yeah, we're going to start ahead with this because when it's in this form, it's really hard to see where the center and what the radius is of the circle. And those are the two things that I need to graph a circle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the x's and y's alone on the left side of the equation here. So I'm going to get the x's together. So I have x squared minus 10x. And then I'm going to leave a gap here because I'm going to add something into my equation. All right. And then I'm going to take my y's, y squared plus 8y plus something. And then I'm going to take, since I'm going to have those on the left side, I'm going to take the number that doesn't have an x or a y and send it to the other side. So if it's a plus 16, I'm going to subtract 16 on both sides. So that'd be a negative 16. Okay. And now I'm going to balance both sides of the equation. So in order to complete the square, there's just one rule that you kind of have to remember. Okay? You take half the middle value and you square it. So for this first one with the x's with the black, this middle value or the b value, I'm going to take half of it, so negative 10 divided by 2 and square it. Okay, negative 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. This middle term, this is always positive. Because if I square anything, a negative number or a positive number, it's going to always remain positive. Okay, so this is how I get what I'm going to insert into my equation. Okay. And since this number didn't exist already, I have to add it and balance both sides. Okay, if I add 25 over here, I have to add 25 on the right side to balance it out. Then I do the same exact thing with the y's. So now my middle term is 8. I'm going to take 8 divided by 2 and square it. Okay, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. And then I'm going to add 16 on this side. Okay. Now I'm going to show what we're going to do is we're going to factor this part over here, x squared minus 10x plus 25. Now from previous lessons, this is a perfect square trinomial, which we factored before. But if you want to, you can go this way. Okay. You can multiply. You can get x squared times 25, which would be 25x squared would be on the top, negative 10x on the bottom. And then you have to get your signs and figure out what multiplies to 25 and adds to negative 10, which would be a negative 5 and negative 5x. From here, you could do your box, or there's a shortcut where it is just x minus 5 times x minus 5, or x minus 5 squared. Okay, so that's why we went back to our factoring. So our shortcut here is we have perfect squares and we can take square roots. Okay, so the shortcut from here, this works every time. You can take the square roots and keep the sign. So to factor this, from what I see over here, the square root of x squared is just x. I'm going to bring this middle sign. Okay, the square root of 25 is 5. Okay, make sure you keep that square in there. Plus, it's always plus in between. And I would have now using the red, the square root of y squared is y. I'm going to bring the sign down. That middle sign. So plus, the square root of 16 is 4 squared equals, then I would have Do the math here. Negative 16 plus, that's 0, equals 25. Now I would have the center and the radius. So my center here would be at, since this is the x, you take the opposite, so it would be 5, negative 4, and my radius is 5. Okay, and we should be able to graph from there as well. We just take our center, boom, boom, 5, negative 4, stretch it out 5 on both sides, okay, and then we'd have our equation of the circle.